coming at you.
What are you doing over there?
I was air thrusting.
Air thrusting?
Air thrusting.
Phantom pumps?
Phantom pumping. So,
Okay. I guess whatever gets you in the mood.
well, I mean, I'm excited to be here.
To record with another man
Well,
alone in this room.
not
A
just
cat.
any man.
Right. And some
Episode 25.
Blue
man.
Diamond nuts.
Yeah, these are honey roasted. You got to get, it's a good source of fat and such, I think. I don't know, man. It's,
Who gives a shit?
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's better than a Starburst. Well, it's actually not better than a Starburst, but it's better than, like, you know, fucking candy and stuff.
I'm not into Starburst.
I do. I like it.
I'm not into chewy candy. I like my candy hard.
Like what? Like what's that old people candy you like?
Although I do like Werther's original.
The Werther's, the caramel ones?
Werther's original.
Yeah.
I've got 3 in my pocket right now.
Which is weird because one of them's been there for a long time, so it's kind of
Right.
semi-melted.
It's like the original pack, like the old school original marketing, original packaging.
It's where it sticks to it. You try to unroll it. It's
Right.
not good.
Yeah. Or how about like those church ladies? They had the that
A dreidel?
right.
So the fingering you're doing there.
Right,
is
is
a
that what I'm
dreidel.
doing? No, they had the strawberry candies that were in a wrapper that looked like
Yeah,
strawberry.
those are good though. Yeah.
Yeah.
Those are all right.
Why did I feel like they all go? Maybe they were like all at the Aldi's or the Piggly Wiggly, and that's just because all the old ladies shop there, and that's what that.
I think we
candy
just
was.
called that like a geriatric signature series.
Right, but why didn't they? Why they always had that candy?
I don't know.
They all shopped at the same place, I guess.
It could have been.
Because I don't even know what the fuck you call those.
What's that shit? That game they play that old folks get together like it's not bridge.
Pinochle?
No. What is that?
I don't know.
What's it called? It's that.
Canasta.
No.
I thought it was bridge. Yeah, what is bridge?
There's one they do play. There's
Rummy?
another one they do play. No, Rummy's cool. That's a straight game. I like it.
Oh, it's a straight game.
Yeah, it's cool. Isn't that what kids say? It's straight. Yeah, it's straight, man.
Okay,
All
I
right.
guess so. I don't
It's
know.
your backwards cap is
it's-
fucking me up.
it's
Like, you
bust-
never have a backwards cap, so you look like a fuck boy.
I was buzzing, no cat.
That was one of our most popular episodes too.
I know. For some
Idiot.
reason. It's probably because it was just us being stupid.
It's like that old picture I found of me that I showed you where I had hair on top. And
Yeah,
it was
I know.
like I looked like one of them dudes.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. You were.
I was a
trendy
bussin' no cap.
before. Yeah, you were making it not cool before it was now cool.
That's correct. Yeah. Just want to clarify. Thank you.
right. I remember that when we tried to do the slick back undercut type thing. I thought I was in Maroon 5 or whatever the fuck. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. A lot of dudes can't, like some dudes can't let go of their hair. Like I don't have a problem with mine going, but for a while there, I was really into it.
Yeah, I know. And like yours, like curled a lot.
Yeah.
So I guess I used to say that you look like the villain at the end of Roger Rabbit.
Yeah, or Roger from when I had to like put so much shit in it to get it to do stuff.
Or
Like Roger from
Doug.
Yeah.
Yeah, the bully.
less green.
Right. He had the little bitty.
It was like a
little
weird.
waves that
What are
kinda
they?
went to the
What's
side.
that? Was that Macklemore?
They were.
Yeah,
what was
Macklemore had that
what
shit
was
too.
The band was the Beats.
Oh, was it? I don't
Yeah,
remember
the
that much
Beats.
into it.
They were the Beats, wasn't it? The Beats.
It was like I remember the names of the characters like Skeeter and Patty Mayonnaise.
Yeah.
It's so weird. It's weird to go back and watch it now.
OG Doug. They don't make cartoons like that anymore.
No, have you seen what's on Disney and shit right now? Harper's been watching some
Sure, like
Disney
half the
show.
characters are trans.
Well, yeah, they used it's not Roger anymore.
It's like a banana that used to be an apple or whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
Right.
That's what that dude said on the Instagram video. It was like I hate to try to explain the birds and the bees now, but now it's like the birds and the birds that used to be with the bees that were birds at one time, but are now birds.
Dude, their straight up was. I saw this. It's
crazy.
I saw this. I can't. It was a while ago, but there was a legit kids cartoon. I don't know what the fuck cartoon was, but they had like a pride parade in the cartoon, and it was a bunch of different animals. They had what's that word? Anthropomorphic. I don't know, animals that are humanoid-like. Anyway,
okay, bipedal like
right,
creatures,
exactly,
okay,
but
sure.
they're humanoids, right? And they act like humans, anthropogenic, whatever. They're in this parade, and there was ones that was like the trans float or whatever, and it was like a family of beavers or something like
Yeah,
that.
it makes sense.
And one of the beavers legit had double mastectomy scars where it had its tits removed.
Yeah,
A fucking beaver.
beavers don't even have tits.
Exactly right. It made no sense. And in this spot where humans have tits, like it made no sense.
It's a big show now.
It's just ridiculous. Have you seen some of the fucking things where some people get these top surgeries where they take the nipple out and they have no nipple?
Yeah.
They're just like
They're like an alien.
Smooth, like an alien.
You're trying to be an alien.
And
that's fine.
like,
that's how I look at you.
Right. It's like, okay, so now you're not even trying to be like, try to represent. That's the reason I call bullshit on half of the I'm a male stuck in a woman's body or vice versa. Because when you go do shit like that, it's like, dude's got nipples. What are you doing?
Yeah, I don't know if you know or not.
If your whole thing is my body doesn't fit how I feel on the inside, I'm actually a male, and then you go and turn yourself into an alien, then do you identify as some sort of weird third species?
No, there's like
it makes no sense.
There's like 14,000 different ones now. I don't know.
It's so fucking stupid.
It's like that. Well, there's that clip we saw today where those two men have that podcast where they talk about like women's struggles.
Yeah, it's you know that one that you were telling me about so it was like, I don't know, there was like something in girlhood or the lives of girls or something like that, some sort of podcast, and they were talking about being women, and it was straight up two dudes.
It's two dudes.
Woman face.
That's what Fleckus post showed that, and he was like, "Yeah,
one of them had a beard."
He's like, "This is two bros just broing out."
Right. He said it was like us in an alternate reality.
Right. It really was.
That's what it was.
But the weird thing was,
you know that one, the skinny one, went to the White House.
Yes, I saw that clip.
Like,
but that's the one that was like, you know, I want a family one day and to be a mother, and I can do that. And I'm like, I don't. You can't. You can't do that. Like, I don't. You can't. You can't. Yes. It's like that video we talked about where that dude had tits and was trying to breastfeed that baby, and was like,
I gotta find that fucking video.
And she was like, he was like, they're latching great, but not getting any milk. What the fuck? Are you serious? I wonder why.
Let's see if I can find it. Oh my God, there's there's a bunch of videos of trans men, quote, trans men trying to fucking breastfeed. What the fuck?
Yeah. It's a big thing now, I guess. I don't know.
You know what's fucking stupid about that video?
Tell me.
Is they blurred out the quote father, supposed to be the father. It's the trans man, so it's actually a biological woman.
Right.
Is now impersonating a man, and it's got all these surgeries, got a beard and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And it has had top surgery, I'm pretty sure, and they still blur out his nipples. So it's like,
no one knows what to do anymore.
Okay.
Right. Everyone, it's just right now, it's just like best guess.
I mean, I'm just looking at this picture, this still of this dude who is not even really passing. It's not passing as a woman very good at all anyway. I mean, it's a very... if that was a biological woman, she fell out of the ugly tree and hit every goddamn stick on the way down. Well, you know what I'm saying?
What weirds me
out. So it's not even a good woman face, not even a good impersonation. And she's like, is legit baffled and starts crying about it. I'm like, because you don't have milk ducts, you dumb ass. It's just crazy.
Well, it's like you said, like, you know, you'll see a dude that is going through whatever this is, and they're not a very attractive man to begin with on most standards.
Most of the time.
And they're like, well, I'm going to be a woman now, and I'll be a better woman. I'm like, no, you actually look like you're in a fucking costume, and you're shitting all over the real women around.
Yeah, I know. Right, because like, you know, being a man or being a woman is not just the clothes that you wear and your outward appearance. It's also psychology too. It's also, you know, it's how you view life, how you navigate through life, your interactions with other people. It's you know, it's a multifaceted aspect to being a male or a female. It's not just you have tits or you don't, or you have a dick or you don't. You know what I'm saying? I mean, from biological level, it's your chromosomes.
Yeah, but you're just a bigot.
Oh, I know. God.
You're a middle-aged white man. You have ruined the country.
Right, I know. The dreaded straight white male.
How could you?
You know, I'm surprised Hollywood hasn't had like a horror movie, like a slasher, that's just called Straight White Male. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, well, because we get all the horror movies.
Right, exactly. Yeah. I know. That's which
we don't now. I just found this out. You talking about trans community, like that lady that just played Pinhead in the new Hellraiser on Hulu.
That's true.
That's a trans woman that played and did a phenomenal job. It's creepy as fuck. It's a good one.
But not saying that like women can't be like villains.
Oh no, I'm not saying that at all. Yeah. No.
But it seems like today, a lot of movies that go woke or just in general, it's like if they have to make some sort of point that douchebag in it, and it's always a straight white male. There's never like a person of color that's a douchebag. Like the designated douchebag is going to be a straight white male, saying something sexist or whatever.
Well, yeah, womanizer.
It's got to be.
Well,
right? Those people don't exist. I mean, you don't really meet people that are overtly douchey sexist like that. It's just not a thing. I don't meet that many people like that.
I haven't. Well, it's like today I was watching Fleckus' Happening in Today's Society or whatever. His little 25-minute video.
Yeah.
They had
Fleckus is a political podcaster, by the way.
He's cool. I like his show. But he showed the craziness happening in society today. Like first it was a group of some black people talking about what are white people like bad at or are not good at or whatever.
I love those videos.
It was bad. And then he got to a girl in a car that was bragging that she just had her uterus and tubes removed. And then she's like, check it out. And it was in a jar. It looks like chicken thighs. It's not cute looking. And she was like, yeah, and I've also got this cool lamp I got that's going to go underneath it for a backlight. Ugh. I'm going to light up my uterus and my tubes in this jar. Gross. And I was like, so I'm sitting there thinking like, is this entire thing a practical joke? Or is this real life? I feel like I'm living in a fucked up video game.
Right. I'm living inside of someone's like nightmare or comedy.
It's more comedy to me.
I think it's more comedy at this point.
Because I can't take you serious. I just can't.
Right.
That person immediately, if I knew that person, they were like, yeah, I got my uterus in a jar. I'm going to display it in my apartment. I'm like, I can't do this anymore. Like, I can't take you serious.
Right.
There's something more happening here.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. It just, I don't know. It's just, we're seeing like mental illness parading around as authenticity.
It's like a badge of honor.
Being your authentic self. There's just, I don't know. There's so many, like we were talking last week about like there's certain phrases or words that we hate. Like anytime someone says I'm an activist, I want to fucking puke. Right? Yeah. I just hate that because it was a good thing, and stupid people have turned it into a nightmare. You know what I mean? It's usually that's the way how it goes. Is something starts off nice and great and good, and then you just get enough dummies in there that ruin it. That's just how life is. That's how pretty much everything is. Eventually. Like was that like that Batman phrase? You either die the hero, or you live long enough to become the villain. Mm-hmm. That's I think that's very true. I think it's just how if anything exists long enough, it will eventually turn to shit.
Yeah,
so that's pretty much how it goes.
I like depressed rich people.
Right.
That really gets me going.
Yeah. But I was just thinking, the words, like activism, I can't stand. When someone says, "Oh, I'm a protester," like get the fuck away from me. I hate those. But there's also like terms and phrases and concepts that really piss me off. Here's one that I can't stand. I see it. It's everywhere. Everyone utters it. Every white girl on TikTok utters this shit. I'm just speaking my truth. My truth. Quote, my truth. There's no such thing as that. You mean your opinion?
Yeah, which is like an asshole.
There's no such thing as your truth. I have to speak my truth. It's so vain and self-obsessed.
So when I hear that, I'm just like immediately turned off.
Yeah,
I'm like, 100%. I don't care about your problems.
The next few things that are going to come out of your mouth are going to be really fucking stupid. That's what I hear.
That's exactly what I hear.
You're just giving me a warning ahead of time that you're about to say something really
something
dumb.
Else that kind of fucks me up when I hear it. I don't lose sleep over it, but I'm just like, I'm immediately like, that's. So like you'll walk in, like see a couple, and like obviously this is my wife, this is my husband, whatever. This one's like, this is my partner, and I'm like, or you'll say this, oh, is this your husband? No, it's my partner. I'm like, well, I didn't fucking know that. I'm sorry. I don't. That's an odd term to me because when I hear that, I think like y'all are crime fighting.
Yeah,
like it's odd to me. And immediately too, I always think if someone says my partner, I think you're gay. Like I thought that was a normal thing. But now I know like straight couples that are saying this is my partner. I'm like.
Why?
I don't know. I don't call my wife that. I don't know.
That makes no sense.
But now, granted, I don't. Whatever you want to do,
you know what it is.
I don't care.
They're probably trying to
be trendy.
Yeah.
To me, it's just.
But what they'll say, what it is being trendy. That's the reality. Is that they are trying to fit themselves, force themselves into the spirit of the age, and just try to go along with the current trendy thing. But in reality, what they're saying is. I'm one of the good ones.
Yeah, and I'm like, okay,
right. They've got to. they're trying to use more inclusive language.
Yeah, I'm not doing any of that.
Right, that's the reason that's how you got the whole Latinx thing. Have you heard about this?
What the fuck is that?
You never heard of this?
No.
So apparently, like the wokies on the left, they want to. They don't say Latina or Latino anymore.
Why?
Because those are gendered. Latina, Latino, right? Latino is male, Latina is female or feminine. It's Spanish is a gendered language.
I wish gender wasn't a thing anymore.
Right. Actually, all the Romance languages are gendered, by the way, which tells you a lot. But so now, in order to get rid of the wokies, don't like the binary gender. They don't like gendered language. So if you're talking about a Latino male, you can't say Latino. You got to say, and you can't say Latina. You got to say Latinx, because then that's non-binary. You've created one term to describe all Latin people. Right? So the problem is the white wokies came up with that bullshit, and they got a few people of color, Latino people, to go along with it who subscribe to the same bullshit. But 99% of the actual population are like, what the fuck are you talking about? I'm not calling myself Latinx.
Right.
Actually, they're like, what the fuck are you talking about? Whatever, how they sound. You know what I'm saying? You never heard of Latinx and say that
No,
before?
I've never heard of that.
It's fucking stupid.
That's probably why I haven't heard of it.
Right,
I probably
it's
ignored
really
it.
dumb.
Yeah. I probably ignored it.
Right. So they like to come up with new goofy terms. And
I can't
language
keep.
and stuff like
I
that.
can't
keep up. Who keep?
I can't keep up
shit?
with it. And somebody asked me
What's
before
wrong
too.
with the way we have language now? Like, why you got to come up with all this new bull crap? It makes no sense.
Same thing whenever the Oscars and stuff. They instead of everybody's an actor now. There is no more actresses or actor. It's just everybody's an actor. Right. I'm like,
again, that's because they are not going to be happy until we're all a bunch of gray amorphous blobs.
Yeah.
To where where everybody's got to have a double mastectomy where no nipples. We got to have flat genitals and
I got to be flat,
perfectly hairless, and we all have to have the same like colored hair. We're seriously gonna be like amoebas.
I'm literally gonna have. I'm like a flat cod piece.
Right. Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Breaking my
be
shit over here.
careful your mic.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They're not gonna be happy until you can't distinguish at all between people or between the sexes at least.
Yeah, I don't. But I do have a little bit of threat, at least where we live in our community, because I just went to that fall festival here in town, and it was nice seeing what I call normal families. There wasn't anything crazy. It was just people doing the same thing.
Right.
There wasn't this crazy shit over here, or somebody ranting and raving about this crazy shit. It was nice being in a normal atmosphere where I wasn't, having this wild shit shoved in my face.
I know.
So,
and most people agree with us, but most people they want to go along to get along. They don't want to rock the boat.
I mean, I get it.
They want to be nice.
I don't do, I don't go to rallies and shit and preach all this crap.
No, me neither. But if it's in my face and I'm like, no, that's stupid. Get away.
That's stupid. I don't want to do that. And that's fine.
That's fine.
I'm not gonna be cruel to anybody or like beat someone up in the streets for having a different opinion. I'm just like, that's stupid. I don't want to do that.
Yeah, that's not enough. You got to bend the knee.
Yeah, I got to bend the knee. Yeah, yeah.
It's not enough.
Yeah.
And that's the sad part about it is that here's a great example is not too long ago. I want to say like maybe when did this all go down? Like 10 years ago, probably 10 years ago. I think gay marriage was on the docket, right?
Yeah.
And so like it was a lot of states had it, some of them didn't, and then now it's like a federal thing or whatever. They passed that Birchville, that Supreme Court case. I think it was like 10 years ago, something like that. And the argument that they had was, live and let live. Like you guys have it, the straighties, the breeders. You guys have marriage. Why can't we? Love is love. Let us live our life the way we want. We'll let you live.
You're already
your
doing
life.
it.
Live and let live. Was kind of was, and there's an argument to be said. It's like I don't necessarily agree with it, but this particular argument is that I see both sides about the gay marriage thing, but I don't want to dive into that. That's not the point of what I'm trying to say. Is that it started out with live and let live. We're not trying to force anything on you. We just want to be able to enjoy the same perks and privileges that married couples get. Because we're married, we are a couple
a heterosexual married couple.
Right. That heteros do. Right. Okay, fine. All right, whatever. That's fine. Now it's turned into, well, we can't let you live anymore. You have to also not only agree with everything that we believe and say, you have to celebrate it. And if you don't celebrate it, then you're cast out as a bigot.
That's correct.
Racist, homophobe, whatever, all that kind
That's
of stuff.
correct.
Right?
Yeah.
And we're gonna shutter your business. We're gonna shame you on social media.
We're gonna cancel you.
Right. We're gonna cancel you. Yeah. Right. And then also, if you don't allow us to teach your children all these things, then we're gonna take your kids away because it's child abuse, and that's coming. That's happening right now because there was some state legislature chick in like Virginia, I think, proposed a bill. Of course, it died on arrival because it's ridiculous, and people were calling it out. But that if a parent did not affirm their kid's gender identity, so if you had like a 6-year-old that said who's a boy and says I'm a girl, and wanted to play with girl toys or whatever, and the school got wind of it, and they, or the state essentially caught wind of it, and you as a parent were saying no, my son is a son, it's not a girl, then that would be classified as child abuse, and they could take the kid away from you.
Isn't that insane?
Like, that's happening. That's going to happen.
That's insane.
And the thing is, we talk people 10 years ago, the opponents of gay marriage were saying, look, this is a slippery slope. Once you define marriage as just two people, any people, it's all about consent, two people in a consenting relationship, then you've opened the doors to all of these other things. Because marriage is not just about that. It's about other things, right? The actual institution of marriage, and I don't know if it's one of those weird ones. I don't know if I necessarily agree with this.
Go ahead. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? I feel some...
I don't know if I'm not as passionate about this particular subject, I guess is what I'm kind of saying. I can understand the argument that marriage is actually an institution, just like all of our other institutions. It's not just a thing for heterosexual people. It's actually an institution. And it's designed, created for child rearing. You already know my stance on this. That's the reason why I think that it makes no sense to personally. I don't think it makes any sense to get married unless you plan to have kids. And sometimes you get married and then you can't have kids, but your intent was to have kids, right? Otherwise, just be boyfriend and girlfriend. Like, I've heard, once you get married, you can have joint accounts, you can file joint taxes. But you can do that
anyway.
You can do all this kind of stuff, but you can do that crap anyway with a civil union. So actually going through the whole process of marriage and having marriage license and all this kind of stuff is all just for tax reasons, and it's getting the state involved and all this kind of stuff. The actual institution is you're bonding, a male and a female bonding themselves together at the time in the eyes of God and the community, because you have to have witnesses, right? If it was just about two souls joining together and then have a marriage license, why do you have to have a witness? Right? Isn't the state who's the
be your all-seeing witness in that case.
Who signs the certificate?
That's correct.
Your marriage license, isn't that enough? Why do you have to have witnesses? Because it's supposed to be about like letting the community know that you're creating this bond, right? You're creating this covenant or whatever. And it was about building for the future, i.e. kids, is what it's about. Well, newsflash, homosexual couples can't biologically have children, if you didn't know.
Yeah, my thing is...
the whole point of marriage is the underlying reality of why marriage needs to be a thing, or reason why it's an institution, gets blown up immediately when it becomes the same-sex couples. Mm-hmm. And so then it becomes just a consent thing. Is as long as both parties consent, they love each other, whatever, then you're good. So now we've opened the door. If marriage is all about just consent, what's to stop a brother from marrying his sister if it's just about consent?
Exactly.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's
and it's going to open the door for that. I guarantee you, because that was basically the argument, is that marriage is not an institution anymore. Marriage is just a contract, a contract between two consenting adults, is what it's about. Well, by that logic, any two consenting adults could be married.
Which then shits all over mine.
Yes.
It's almost like a joke.
Why can't a father marry his daughter?
Or marry a fucking lamb?
And you say, well, was that really big of a problem? That's not the point. Do you want that to be a thing that's happening even in a small percentage?
Because they love each other.
Right.
And they're both okay with it.
Exactly.
Give me a fucking break.
They're also in tandem, because we're talking about consent. Well, there's also an age of consent. Right now, the age of consent is 18. Okay? Right? There is an effort out there to lower the age of consent. And here's how I know that. It's because you hear people, how many times have you heard people saying, well, we need to lower the voting age? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Or how about swing it back to the transgender thing, is that if a kid, the argument will be made is that if a teenager, say 15, 16-year-old, can know can consent to a surgery or hormones to change their gender, then we're saying that they're mature enough to understand the implications of that, short-term and long-term. So then why can't they be mature enough to vote? So why can't they be mature enough to, drink? Why can't they be mature enough to use drugs or whatever? Marijuana, say when marijuana becomes legal. I'm sure when marijuana becomes legal federally, it'll be an 18 and above thing. But they'll just keep lowering it because you've smashed all of the logic on why we have the age of consent at 18.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And so eventually, now if you've created that marriage is just about consent, and now you lower the age of consent, now you're talking about 15 and 16-year-olds can marry a 40-year-old man. No sweat, no problem.
It's all fucked up.
Which is shit that happens in the fucking third world, by the way. So we're just regressing back into our more primal, primitive, savage ways is really what's happening.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
And two, talking about what I need to do with my kid, I'm like, well, if you're a same-sex marriage, whatever, you avoided your chance for kids. Sorry, that. This is my child that I pay for. That's mine. So, fuck off.
Right.
You have your own. Do what you want to do with them.
Right. So people that scoffed at the slippery slope argument, people back in the, I'm not saying that because we change the law to where same-sex couples can now get married. I'm not saying that was a direct link to what's going on now, but I'm just saying is that whenever you start smashing institutions willy-nilly without forethought, then you're creating a slippery slope. And when someone's saying, hey, maybe we should slow down and think about this, pay attention. Because now we're in where we're in.
Well, you know what's happening.
There is no such thing as gender. It's a social fucking construct. It is completely separate from sex. But it also, if your gender identity is of another sex and it completely overrides your sex, right? So here's an example, is on why the whole gender is different from sex argument makes no sense. There's that admiral that's a transgender man to woman, and they're a fucking 4-star admiral, whatever. It's the
Is that the one I just got in trouble? Oh, that's the one, the ugly.
Looks like a dude.
Okay.
I mean, it's not a good, terrible one face. The administration keeps repeating that this is the first female 4-star admiral. Female is a biological designation. Female. So now you're saying that this person is not transgendered. You're saying that they are now biologically female. So they keep using the term female, but in one hand. And in the other hand, they're telling us sex and gender are different.
Correct.
Okay, so which one is it? Because the reality is they use they come up with these goofy terms and goofy concepts, force it down everybody's throat without actually being clear about what they're saying. But if you question, be like, oh, can you just be, if you say, okay, I'm open-minded, I'm willing to accept your premise. Can you be a little more clear? Because I've got a few questions and there's some holes in your logic. I just want to clarify, right? If you question it, then they'll just jump down. You're a bigot.
It's all emotion.
It's all pure emotion. Right.
Yeah.
There's no logic to any of this stuff. It's all, I have these feelings internally, and they must be validated by the broad society. And if you don't validate my feelings, then you're attacking me personally, and you're being mean, and you should be shut down. That's basically the whole argument about the whole thing. How the fuck did we get here? That's what I'm saying. So when people talk about the slippery slope, this is what the fuck it looks like, ladies and gentlemen.
It's when everybody's morals go out the window and everybody's shame.
Right.
Nobody has a shame cap anymore.
I know.
So it doesn't matter anymore.
There's a parable I've heard about basically the difference. It's a broad parable about the difference between like liberals and conservatives, but we'll just say it's the difference between a woke person currently and anybody who just kind of wants to take a beat and say, let's think about this thing, right? So we'll say there's two people, and there's a parable of two guys. They're coming across a field, and they're walking in a field, and they come across a fence, right? And every day they have to jump over the fence to be able to cross it, right? Well, the one day the liberal person says, why is this fence here? Let's just get rid of it. It's a lot easier. There's no need for it anymore. Let's just tear it down. That way we don't have to keep jumping this fence so we can keep going. So they tear down the fence, right? Well, the other guy is like, well, hold on a second. Why do you want to tear down this fence? Like, we can just climb over it. It's fine. That's what we've been doing. But you don't know what this fence is for. There's maybe a reason why this fence is here. Maybe it's keeping in, a dangerous animal.
Or keeping out.
Or keeping out something. Like, you don't know why this fence is here. Before we tear it down, let's investigate a little bit further, right? And that's the cautious approach. That's the logical approach. And I feel like that's what we've done as societies. We see some sort of roadblock in our lives, and now it's not even really a roadblock in your life. It's like a roadblock in your inner life, and we have to just completely smash whatever's in the way.
That's correct. Yeah,
completely.
That's a good.
Right?
That's a good.
And that's basically what that parable is about, is that you just because you see something that is a roadblock, you don't understand what it's there for, doesn't mean that it's not there for a purpose. And we may have forgotten what that purpose is, but as soon as you smash it down, you're going to learn why it was there in the first place.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. And so, like marriage as an institution is an example of one. If you completely smash that institution and change what it actually is, you don't really understand what the implications of that are going to be. You just think you're, just fighting the power, or you're just doing a good thing. But what was that one dude? We were at our old jobs. He came in. He said, the road to hell is paved in good intentions.
No, the road. I'm not going to correct you, but I'm going to, because that's not what he said. He said the road to hell is paved in political correctness. Right. Stone cold that shit and left. It was great.
Which is kind of the same thing. When people are talking about being politically correct, they're talking about being, nice and all this kind of stuff like that.
Yeah.
Well, we just want to make sure that we are not offending anybody. That's what that means.
I like the...
it's nice people. Nice people is what's gotten us into this situation.
Well, I like the way if you're going to talk about political correctness stuff, I like the way...
let me get off my soapbox real quick.
Yeah, come on down. Let me help you.
Oh, I need some help. Oh,
yeah, careful
up here really high.
Careful that big old dick you just got it all swinging out of there.
I came in hot.
It's like kids, for example.
I think I was literally taking a nap like 20 minutes
ago.
Yeah,
you were. Kids, for example, I love how honest they are about everything. And I've been watching, we have a kid, obviously, that's at the age now where they call things how they see it.
Yeah.
And it's amazing to watch them, because if we would just take, a play out of that book, like, they have so many questions, but they ask the obvious questions, and then they say, like, she'll be like, well, why is it like that? And I'll be like, well, because of this. I'm like, well, that doesn't make any sense. I'm like, yeah, it doesn't.
Right. But then it's upon you as the adult to explain it, because the reason why they're asking the question is because kids don't know things.
They don't know things. And then, or if they see something or somebody says something to them, they're just like, well, that's stupid. I don't agree with that. And they'll tell you why. Like, I'm like, I wish I could just take a small play of that, because as you get older, obviously, you're like, you can't say that.
Right.
Well, why?
Why?
I mean, she's not going to be cruel to somebody, but if you have questions, fucking ask them.
Ask the question.
And I don't sugarcoat stuff. I just tell it the way it is. Like, that's because this is why.
Right. Well, yeah, like, I mean, here's, I guess, an example of that would be, is if someone's like, what's kind of what we were talking about today? I was like, the reason I know why my knees hurt is because I'm overweight.
Oh God, that was funny.
So someone asked the question, is like, why does my knees hurt? 2 ways you can answer that. You'd be like, listen, your knees hurt because you're overweight.
And if you're overweight,
that's not being cruel.
It's
being absolute
factual. It makes sense.
And you're not sugarcoating. You'd be like, listen, you're overweight. Your knees hurt because you're overweight. Simple.
Handle it.
Boom. Done. The wrong way to do it is like, your knees hurt because you're a fat fuck. That's the wrong way to handle it.
David Goggins say? If somebody says you're a fat fuck, it's probably because you're fucking.
It's probably because you're fucking.
It's probably, or someone says you're dumb. It's probably because you're stupid. Right. Like, probably so. Just fix it. But that's probably what it is.
Right.
Stay hard. I get it. Yeah, stay hard. Fuck it.
Be a savage.
Run all the way in the night. Yeah, like I get it. It's like something, for a funny example. Like, she told Jacob. Jacob's got long hair. Like, she said, Uncle Jacob, you don't look like a prince anymore. You look like a princess. But it's funny. Yeah, it's fucking hilarious. But it's funny the way she sees it is like, women have long hair and boys have short hair. Mm-hmm. So now when she sees a dude with long hair, she's like, why does his hair look like that? It's weird.
Right.
And I was like, well, honey, some guys just like keep their hair long. She was like, then she looked at me, she was like, I don't like it. Mm-hmm. And then she started pushing the cart. And I was like, okay.
I've heard people make the argument saying that, well, back in the medieval age or whatever, like, men used to wear like frilly collars and all this kind of stuff. They used to have long hair.
My brother's wearing that right now for a thing.
And they said, so why can't a guy do it now? Like, what's the difference? I was like, yeah, but even back then, there was a clear line between male dress and female dress. What you're doing is you're comparing male dress from 400 years ago to female dress now and saying they're the same. They're not the same. You have to compare apples to apples. Men and women 400 years ago still had they wore different clothes. You did not have women in mass wearing men's clothes, and you didn't have men in mass wearing women's clothes at 400 years ago. They still had a separate wardrobe. So to say like, why can't a man wear a dress? But guys 400 years ago wore like frilly collars and stuff. That's not the fucking same.
That's not the same at all.
It's not the same.
That was the male garb at the time.
Right, that was the male garb.
But they were still separated.
Right.
Like, because it's weird. Like, right. You can't show me a depiction from 400 years ago where you had a mass cultural acceptance of men wearing dresses of that time period. It doesn't exist. It's gotten popular culture. Like Harry Styles wears a dress.
Right.
Like Kurt Cobain wore a dress once too from Nirvana. Okay, whatever. They were very rebellious.
I give musicians and rock stars a pass on that.
It's still weird, but it's
unless Harry Styles is different though, because Steven Tyler wore like blouses and shit like that, had scarves and all that kind of. He's very womanly looking.
He was fucking cool.
Right. The rock stars are a little different.
Yeah.
If you're an artist, singer, songwriter, rock,
I don't put you in the same norm category. Yeah.
There's a problem with the Harry Styles one thing though, is that he wasn't wearing that dress as part of his act, because if you've actually seen when he's on stage and doing stuff like that, he wears blousey stuff or whatever. So he's very, very feminine, but he's still wearing like pants. So he looks like Hillary Clinton up there. To be honest with you, but
he does.
I'm not into it. It looks weird. But that he's created an aesthetic for himself that is fine. The problem with him was wearing a dress when he was doing that photo shoot is he was specifically making a statement that any guy can wear a dress.
That's correct.
Right? And someone like Steven Tyler, who was very androgynous, was not making that statement.
No.
He just thought it was cool, and he's very artsy, and he tries things and does stuff on stage because he's a fucking rock star. That's the reason they just do that.
I mean, look at Prince. Prince wore dress kind of feminine, but he was a lady slayer. So that makes sense. I just don't like it when it's like, well, I'm going to do it now because it's trendy.
Right. And he wasn't wearing something that was kind of feminine. He was straight up wearing a fucking dress.
Yeah, Youngblood did that too, that British rock star, which I like his music, but he wore a dress too. And it's just... I'm like, if you were
even actors that are not like, even actors, people that are not rock stars or in the music industry are doing it. Like one of my favorite actors, Oscar Isaac, he wore a fucking dress to a thing one time.
Oh, the gala, they wore all that weird shit. Timothy Chalamet wore a weird ass shit too, like an open back. I don't know. I'm like,
what the fuck?
I want to ask him like, but I've never met any of them. I want to be like, are you really like, do you normally wear shit like that? Is it, or they wear like. Just I don't know. I can't.
I don't know.
Hollywood is scary.
I don't know if they're trying to just be trendy, be shocking, or just trying to fit in with their
I have no
woke
idea.
friends.
I have no idea.
Right. I don't. It doesn't make any sense. It makes me think. I've heard multiple women say this before. It's like they'll say, "Why don't men dress like they used to?" Because right now generally the male aesthetic is like jeans and a t-shirt. Right?
That's me all day.
All day. I love jeans and t-shirt
and a hoodie.
Right, but. I've heard women complain like when they look back in like the 40s, where men every time they went outside they were wearing a suit essentially.
Yeah.
Right, and they had sometimes even a 3-piece suit. It's like women are like, why can't we bring that back? Because that was a good look for a man, right? Obviously. Well, my answer to that would be like, well, first we got to stop dudes from wearing dresses, and then we can have that conversation.
Or stop demasculating it. If I'm saying that correctly, is that right?
Demasculating. Yeah.
Stop doing that.
Stop trying to turn men into women, and then we can have that conversation about dressing more masculine.
It's kind of, and I'm not saying like not in my immediate circle around me. Like you'll see it on social media, you'll see it on the news, you'll see it in Hollywood. Like you can't in that same bubble. You can't be a man's man anymore.
Oh, hell
like
no.
you can, it's frowned upon.
It's toxic masculinity.
I'm being toxic. Why? We need it. I mean, I still want strong women too. I'm not saying that at all. Like I want a woman's woman if that's a thing. Whatever.
Well, they just threw the word toxic in front of masculinity like it actually changed the nature of masculinity. It makes no sense. Like masculinity just by itself, you didn't have to add some sort of qualifier of being toxic. How about we just talk about masculinity and what that is? Let's define that first before you start slapping toxic.
It's that same fucking in the same breath of like we don't need men.
I mean, so like here's an example. What if I just started talking about toxic femininity? Yeah. That doesn't tell you anything.
Doesn't tell you shit.
Doesn't tell me shit.
It's a cop out,
right?
Because you don't know why you're mad.
Because then the first thing that goes through your mind, well, what do you mean by feminine in the first place? Well, yeah, okay, let's define that first before I start slapping stuff in the front of it. So, well, you don't ever hear anybody talk about toxic femininity.
No, because if you say you want,
because
if you say I want a traditional woman, they're like, oh, what the fuck? Stay home and cook and clean all day and do all that. Well, I mean, you can't want traditional values in a man and not expect the same thing back.
We've talked about that. Yeah.
We have to. Yeah, sorry,
we've talked about that.
Before.
Where it's like, well, I don't know if it was on the podcast or not because we talk about a lot of shit off air too.
Offbeat. That's all right if someone wants to hear it again. Because it's still happening. It's actively happening. But my wife and I have had this discussion where it's like, I don't need. I was like, you don't need one, no. But y'all, women in general, I think the ones I know and have met, like a male presence to have a structure to it. Not saying you want to be told what to do, but you like a male authority in your life. That's why we go together so well. It is what it is. Like that's the way it is.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's I guess like males in general, we all understand that there's going to be some people that are, not everybody's the same, right? And so there's a lot of dudes that are not going to.
That didn't make any sense when I just said that. I really
there's not a lot of dudes that are going to be good breadwinners and protectors and all that kind of stuff. Like we get that, but in general, that is just the way it is. Like masculinity is attractive to women. Why? Because of what is masculinity? That's what I'm saying. We have to define this stuff. What masculinity is: being the protector. If physically, right, protect. Also emotionally, you also want to protect your family from emotional distress, right? From things that you want to protect them from bad news. For instance, you don't want to soften the blow for them as much as possible. Be providers. You want to be the breadwinner. You actually, and literally, and you can tell this. This is innately true. Whenever women complain about the guy not paying for dates, paying for the dinner on dates, like why? If you did not innately want that in a mate to be able to pay for stuff, to be a provider, why is it a big fucking deal? If you're saying that doesn't matter, traditional roles don't matter, then why did women consistently still say that man should pay for the date at least the first time? Why? You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, and now
so they know. Even the ones that say that they don't believe in traditional gender roles, even in practice, they still believe in traditional gender roles.
Yeah, I forget who. It wasn't Andrew Tate. It was somebody was talking about like women shouldn't be mad when men expect things after a date, like by paying for dinner and stuff. Like they shouldn't be upset when they expect like a kiss goodnight or something like that. That women shouldn't be mad. One time I start fucking on the table because I bought you, chicken cordon bleu. I'm just saying, like, like to your point, like I mean, I was always told that was the traditional thing to do, like growing up.
Yeah, that was like that's what you had to do.
A man pays if I've asked a young woman out to a date, then I've asked her for her company.
Yeah, and it wasn't like and it wasn't like you were asked. We were raised told to do these things because if you do these things, you'll get something in return.
Oh no,
it was that you were duty bound as a male to do this.
To me,
if you ask out a woman, you're duty bound to do these things.
It made me feel good. It did. Like it's. I like
open the door for them.
I like
you pick them up, you take them home, you walk them to their door, you pay for dinner, you do all of those things, right?
Now, granted, when I was broke as fuck and we're going on first started dating, like I probably always couldn't almost not pay for it, but I've had dates too where you've gone not Dutch, but we've swapped. If it's a second, third, or fourth date, then I'm like, I'll get it this time. That's different.
The first date, 100%
I always
pays
pay.
everything.
I've always do that.
100% every time.
I prefer to drive, do the whole thing. Like
even if she says we'll split it, be like, listen, no,
I asked for your company.
I insist. I'm paying first.
That I like traditional.
And if you want to concede and be like, you can get it next time, you can do that. But the first date, guy pays first every time, 100%, no questions.
And if I ever raise a boy one day, then I would say the exact same thing. Mm-hmm. I would say the same thing.
Right.
Like we were told too, like, if I'm picking, at the time when I was dating, like a woman up, like I don't honk the horn in the driveway.
Right.
You get your ass up.
Now, I don't think you should make it like a big fucking deal. Like if you were to go out with somebody and you were like, say the check comes, right? And you reach for it and she's like, well, let's split it. And you're like, no, that's okay. I got it. And because I've been on a date where she did that. She's like, well, you want to split it? I was like, no, that's fine. I got it. That was it. That was it. I paid it. It was good. But if she presses and keeps pressing, don't like take a. This is where you're going to take a stand. Just fucking let it go. If she is like dead set on fucking paying for it because she's, wants to make some sort of statement or whatever, fine, let her do it. It'd probably be the last date because she's probably a crazy feminist. But let her fucking pay it. Don't die on that hill. Don't make it weird. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because you're not going to get a second date, bitch.
Because you probably don't want one from this chick anyway.
Right.
So, he just gave me sent that text. You see that for guys?
Me too. I haven't pulled it up yet.
Looking for ideas for do for guys' night. Oh, yeah. We should talk about that.
What's that?
About like just doing stuff.
Oh, let's get to that. Let me bring this up real quick. We'll venture off this whole tear on craziness and
we don't even planning. I wasn't even planning to go down this road.
No, I know, but yeah, I like when we get going because you're smarter than I am about it, so it sounds better when you talk about it. I'm just like I'm not retarded, but I'm just like the guy over here.
You're the layman.
I'm the layman married guy. Anyways,
yeah, you've got more important stuff to think about. I seriously have nothing.
Everyone should be.
I sit here and
I'm a part of it because I consider a somewhat traditional marriage. So 9 years as of yesterday.
I've been told that I've been in
Wednesday.
I've been in discussions / arguments with people before, and I've been told. My mother told me once. She's like,
"You're an idiot."
Well, she says, "You have to forget you can be intimidating." I'm like, "I'm intimidating? What the fuck are you talking about?"
No.
And I think it's true is that I am kind of cognizant of this now. Whenever I have
I can still. This is a self flex. I like it. Go ahead.
We'll have an argument. Well, I don't think intimidating, but I think what it is people do. I've had conversations with people that are not as immersed into this world as I am, and so they don't know all the arguments. We'll say They just have their opinion. It's not really fully fleshed out or thought about. They just have it. They haven't really questioned their own opinion that much, or they haven't come across anybody that's be able to challenge their own opinion. But then I do, and I have all these counterpoints, and I just keep going and going because I'm immersed in all this stuff constantly on a daily basis. I listen to all these podcasts and I read all these articles, and that can be intimidating to people. So they get defensive sometimes, and I have to remember to keep it calm, and I'm not trying to hammer this point. That's the one thing about it. If you ever have a discussion with somebody is sometimes when you're having an argument or discussion with somebody, it's not about changing the other person's mind. If you get to a point to where you don't think they can be convinced, the conversation should honestly be over. But sometimes it's to the benefit of people that are listening, that if you keep it civil, you're not trying to win over somebody. You're trying to express your opinion and then take their opinion, the things that they're saying, and trying to get clarification on what they're saying and trying to understand it. And if there's some disagreement there, you point out those differences, right? That's really the art of having a good civil discourse with somebody. You're not trying to have you're not throwing jabs and punches.
I look at it as
a fight.
It's not a.
If you treat it that way, then that's what happens. But some people get upset when their opinions get called out for the falseness that's in them. There's a logical fallacy there that they just said, and you call it out. People don't want to be proved wrong.
That's right. Yeah.
It makes you feel embarrassed. You feel inferior. And so then you get defensive and then you get angry. And all the while, I'm trying to be calm about it. I used to, when I didn't know anything, when I was ignorant, I used to get upset whenever I have an argument with somebody. Now, when I'm informed, I don't get upset whenever someone disagrees with me.
Yeah, so
I don't get upset.
I usually, now, because I've had not arguments, I've had discussions with people, and I'll be like, let me stop you there. I don't know enough to continue this conversation. I have not researched it.
It's a good way to be.
So what I don't want to be the guy who purely goes off a Facebook article that's probably bullshit or something I heard from somebody that's not a valid source, if you will. Mm. So I'll pleasantly bow out, I'm not disagreeing or agreeing with you, but I don't have enough ammo in this to really even to finish this discussion.
Right.
So I've even told somebody before
I'll bow out.
That favors left way more than me. And we had a civil conversation. I was like, I don't know enough about it to have this conversation. But I said, I respect your opinion on it. People, you can have that discussion and not turn into a fight or an emotional,
Right. It's like my teacher thing.
Knock and drag type thing.
My teacher thing. I have not looked into all of the arguments and points and little bits of information that someone who's like on the other side of that argument would have. But I'm just going off kind of what I observe and my gut instinct on it. But I'm more than happy to be, either proven wrong or, consider another point of view if I was given some information by somebody that is more involved in it than I am. Like 100%. I like learning new things, so I'm fine with it. So if we had got a teacher on, they were like, well, here's the reason why you're wrong. Blah, 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 blah.
Okay.
Okay, I didn't consider that before. Let's move forward. That's fine. I have no problem with that.
Yeah, it's not.
I'm not. Very few opinions that I have, I'm willing to die for. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, I favor right, not far right. I try to just favor and don't be a piece of shit.
What does that mean anyway?
And use exactly.
What does far right mean anyway?
It's two sides of the bread.
Goofy terms we come up with. No one actually knows what it means.
I just favor common sense. I just
pretty much.
I like things that just make sense.
Right.
That's what I like. If it's that doesn't make any sense to me, or I think it's asinine. I'm like, I can't. Sorry, can't back that.
That's hard to even pin down.
Common sense is tough, man.
It's because nobody has anything in common anymore to be able to have a common sense. You know what I'm saying?
There's a lot more people that I think would agree with what that statement. Just I like common sense. Don't be a piece of shit. There are a lot of folks think that way, but people are just. I mean, especially like Rob Schneider was just on Fox News, and he made that statement like that. He said, "I've got friends that favor more if you want to do it left or right. That's just the big thing now. Okay, that favor more conservative leaning and not liberal. That are scared to voice that because jobs. They will be able to get movie roles and then cancel culture. It sucks.
Right.
That a few of them have been like, like Rob said in that he was like, I don't want my life dictated by a party like that.
Right.
He moved to Arizona. Right. They moved out of California.
I was having a conversation with someone about this. Is it's 90% of people are just they just want to just move on, just enjoy their lives and
that's it.
And be fine. And most people have a common sense. We all kind of have a common set of ideas and principles that we all understand are good things, and that's how you should orient your life. And you should get married. You should have kids. You should graduate high school. You should. Be nice people. You should have a job. Everybody kind of agrees on a lot of these things. It's the 10%. It's the 5% on one side and the 5% on the other side that they make themselves sound like there are more of them than there actually is because they're so fucking loud, right? So you got the far left. They're so fucking loud and obnoxious, and you got the far right saying they're goofy shit about Jewish space lasers or whatever the fuck, and talking about the actual white supremacist type people, or whatever, because they do exist. This whole skinhead thing, and talking about how they want to have a white nation, a white Christian nation, all these kind of weirdos like that. I get it, that's fine. They're both on it. Here's the big problem though. That's what I was trying to explain to somebody. It's you got the far left and the far right. If we defined what that actually is, we'd be able to say that it's probably 5% on each side. So 10% of the population as a whole is just absolutely wackadoo. But they're the loudest, so they make it sound like they're the 40%. But they're a tiny minority.
Right.
But here's the main problem, is that you can easily pinpoint when the right has gone too far. You're like, there it is. That guy right there. Oh, he's a Nazi. That's a Nazi. Nazi right there. I see him. He's saying Nazi things. That's a Nazi. Clearly, and we all hate him. Everybody, the 95% from that point all the way to the end of the left agrees that dude's a piece of shit. We get it, right? When he starts talking about, black people being inferior, for instance, right? They're inferior race. They've got dirty blood and all this kind of crap, whatever. Boom, racist, got him. There he is right here.
There he is.
But currently our society, all our major institutions, all our media apparatus are all in the camp of that 5% on the far left. They get TV shows, they get movie deals, they're in the writers' rooms of all this crap, they're on stage, they're in our kids' ears, they're on TikTok, and they're not being called out for hey, that's a crazy person, that's a crazy person. We all agree that's a crazy person. What are they doing on my TV screen?
Somebody actually said that liberalism, hardcore, that camp you're talking about over there, that whole thing,
right,
is that's actually a mental condition.
Oh, yeah. No one is putting that guy that's on the far right that we can all point to and say, hey, that is a far right. No one is putting him on TV.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? He is not in any kind of position of power. He's just a crazy dude screaming in his single wide trailer at his fucking computer screen. That's all he is.
Profiling.
Yeah, right. Now I'm profiling. Right. Right. So, right. But we can all point out who that guy is. And he is isolated from society. He's a pariah.
Not to be seen.
He has no power whatsoever.
Not to be seen.
The only reason we know he fucking exists is because he has an internet connection and a Facebook account. That's it. Right? But the same exact, on the other end of the spectrum, the same kind of level of crazy and marginalized, they're a tiny minority, they just have a loud voice, is not only given an internet connection and a Facebook account where they can spout off their crap,
but their own TV.
They're given a movie deal. They're in a writer's room for a TV show. Mm-hmm. You get what I'm saying? That is the difference.
And now writing children's shows
now writing children's shit. Now actually literally put in the classroom to teach kids. That is the difference. So whenever I hear people talk about like, well, the problem is that you got the far right and the far left, and it's both a problem. I was like, no. Maybe 50 years ago, the far right was a problem. Obviously, Jim Crow and all that kind of stuff like that. I get that. That was a problem. But let's talk about right now. Right now, that guy is not a fucking problem.
No.
We already collectively know that the Jim Crow style racist people are a fucking thing of the past, obviously. We all can recognize those people when we see it. And they're shunned. We all agree. They're not going to rise to power again. It's just not going to fucking happen, okay? Right? Can we talk about like the problem right now? And the problem right now is the left's crazy minority is actually put in positions of power. That's the problem.
Yeah.
And then, but the problem is that they'll say that someone who is not far right, who's just kind of a normal, like they would say like me or you, the opinions that we have, they would say that's far right. But who's making that determination? The far left is saying that I'm far right. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So they're trying to. It's not like the broad society is saying that I'm far right from these views. It's that crazy 5% on the far left that's saying that I'm far right. When I'm obviously. They would say anybody that is left of center is far right. You know what I'm saying? Anybody that's more right than them is far right.
Right.
So that's the problem. That's the reason why they call everybody on Fox News is a Nazi, and everybody
on CNN,
everybody in the South is a Nazi, and there's Nazis fucking everywhere. There's Nazis around every corner, right? If I say something like, I don't know, maybe you should have an ID to vote, you're a Nazi. That don't make any sense.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So that term, Nazi, has lost all fucking meaning because everybody has a different opinion of what a Nazi is because they use that term so damn much. We need a new term for someone like that. You know what I'm saying? Besides Nazi. That's an overused
white
thing.
supremacist.
That too is overused.
Dumbass.
How about just piece of shit? Yeah.
Yeah, pile of shit.
Right.
Both of you, everybody is both camps, piles of shit.
But I was telling somebody that where I was like, that's the real problem right now is that we don't have to worry about the fucking guy in his trailer. Like, yeah, if the FBI wants to keep an eye on him in case he's going to blow something up or whatever, fine, whatever. But we're actually letting the crazy 5% on the left into our ears and our brains, our kids' ears in their brains. And that's a problem. We need to let sense and common sense kind of become the dominant force again. Not these wackos. And so that's all I see with this gender stuff. And what I see with this gender stuff is I see well-meaning people going along because they don't want to hurt anybody's feelings.
That's what it is.
And when they're going along, they're destroying fundamental aspects of the human condition, the human species, how society is oriented. There's a reason why our birth rates are in the fucking tank.
People are starting to see it.
I think so. I think there will be a backlash. Everything swings back and forth.
Yeah, the birth rate thing is interesting too. I feel like
I think it's multiple things.
You see, people just not either they're doing it later in life or they're just not doing it anymore. Like as far as they're just not wanting kids anymore.
Yeah.
Like I've known more people now.
So I just don't want kids.
They just don't want kids.
Right.
They're just like, I just don't want them.
That used to be fucking unheard of back in the day.
It was like because I'm considered.
You don't want kids? Why?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like and sometimes I get because I've asked someone I get it why they don't want kids. I've heard someone say like the one that I heard that I think's bullshit is they're like, well, I just want to raise someone in this kind of society. I'm like, that's a bullshit cop out.
That's a bullshit answer.
But then I heard the real answer. The real
answer is something else.
Somebody looked at me and was like, oh, I'm selfish. I don't want to raise
that.
It's my time. I don't want to lose things that I want to do to take care of something. I'm like, okay.
Right.
Same thing when you ask somebody when they don't, why don't you quit smoking? Because I don't want to. Okay.
Fuck. If I've told you this before. If they
healthy.
came out with a healthy cigarette that didn't cause cancer and made your breath smell like ass, I would light up tomorrow.
Or now.
Right now.
Yeah.
I miss it so much.
I understand.
Fuck, I love it.
But yeah, like, and that's a good answer. Like, I don't, and then 2 is I've seen, divorce rates to the fucking roof too.
Yeah.
I mean, we have friends that are young that are going through some shit. I'm like, Jesus Christ, man!
Well,
like
because we already blew up that institution. But you think that if we blew up the institution of marriage, we blew it up way before the same sex couples came around. It's because marriage used to be an actual like when talk about death to us part, they actually fucking meant that.
Yeah,
right. You know what I'm saying now, but whenever you had especially celebrities, they kind of ruined that, and everybody watches celebrities. They're in the public eye. So whenever you saw celebrities get together and they're these super successful, very attractive people, and then you see them getting divorced like 2 years later, you're like, in the minds of the people that are watching that, we're like, well, if they can't make it work, right? And also, I think there's also too many options. People are too distracted and tempted to wander. You get what I'm saying? So straight couples blew up the institution of marriage long before same-sex couples came along by a divorce rate being really high. But then now you make it official. You make it actually like essentially on the books legally saying that marriage is just about consent. Now it's going to be even.
It's very easy.
That's going to affect the heterosexual couples too.
It's very easy now.
Yeah.
Marriage is easy.
Marriage is easy.
Getting married is easy.
There's no stakes.
Divorce is easy. Like
they're making it to where it's literally about, it's just if you like fucking each other, you should just get married. There's no stakes. Right? You'll get some benefits, but then if you divorce, no harm, no foul. That's not how it should be. You know what I'm saying? Honestly, I think divorce rates are high, but I think marriage rates are going to start going down too.
Probably,
especially because as a dude, what advantage is there to get married? As a guy, like for a lot of people, a lot of guys out there, like I know why I want to get married, but for a lot of guys out there, what's the advantage? Like what advantage do you get?
The guy in me was going to be like nothing.
But
like I mean, I'm married for obviously my own reasons too. Like I wanted to be with her, and I didn't want to
start a family.
And I want to start a family. We knew
that's the reason we knew that
we wanted to start a family. And I was like, well, I want to have kids with this woman, and we had a long engagement. We got engaged quick. Like we were engaged in like 2 months. I had a long engagement, but like we just had our 9-year anniversary 2 days ago.
Right.
Does it work for some? Sure. Have we had rough times? Absolutely.
Yeah, 100%.
But yeah, that's what I want. I was like, okay, well, I want to have a family with this woman. So
yeah, but now, and that's again, the majority of people are in that same camp, and I would agree with you. But there is a growing contingent of people out there.
But do I think
that are getting married? I think that there's a growing contingent of guys out there that are looking at the landscape and being like, "Why would I get married? There's literally no advantage to me." Because here's the logic behind that: is I like this person, I like hanging out with them. Say I get married. What if something happens and we no longer have these same feelings 5 years from now, and then we get divorced? She takes half my shit. What if we have a kid and then she can now take the kid? I only see it every other weekend, right? So some guys are making that calculation and saying, why would I even put myself with that? It's all risk, no reward. When all the reward can be enjoyed, the quote, a reward you can get for getting married can just be enjoyed by just being in a relationship. Why do you have to get married? You don't get any benefit. Is the point?
I don't think men dream of. Nowadays,
we don't.
I don't think men dream of getting married.
No,
like the thing that I wanted is what my dad had was a family. Right. He was a family man.
And marriage is how you got there.
He worked, and I knew that. Okay, well, I have to meet the right woman, get married, and have kids, so I can mimic what he has.
Right.
So to me, it made sense. That's what marriage led to. Family. That's what it went to, and of course, the right woman, and that so on and so forth. That's what it was. But as far as not wanting kids to get married, I don't.
Right.
I wouldn't have.
Because as a species, if you look at it from like as a species, as we're like just animals roaming the earth,
sure.
right? And we're pair bonding in order to perpetuate the species. That's all. Just take out all the other societal crap, and we're just animals. If you just look at it from that perspective, then the male is genetically determined to continue its line, its lineage, right? It's all about legacy, right? So it needs to, sounds kind of weird and graphic, but it needs to spread its seed in order to perpetuate the species and continue its be fruitful.
It's a man's thing. I mean, I've told Kylie before. Like,
blessed be the fruit.
Yeah, may the Lord open. Right. I've told Kylie before that in me that I want a boy one day, and I was like, and because at its basic level, and this is going to sound like animalistic, whatever. I'm like, to carry my name,
right? Exactly.
To carry the name.
So if the male in the species is looking to procreate in order to perpetuate, have a legacy and perpetuate its line, right? Then it's got to look for a female mate, right? And to do so. Now the female has that's a high stakes game for a female. From the female perspective, is they have to make sure that they choose the right mate. And in the animal kingdom, whenever an animal gets pregnant, most mammalian species, when they get pregnant, obviously they're growing another creature inside of them, right? And so they're going to be slower. They can't. There's a certain point to where they're going to be vulnerable. So that's the reason why they have to have the strong male that can be protecting them, because they're giving birth, right? And they can't protect themselves while they're about to bust, right? And so they also want to perpetuate and make sure that their offspring survives. So they have to pick a strong mate that's going to have strong genes that can survive the harsh winters and all that kind of stuff, and they can grow up to be good hunters and all this kind of stuff, right?
Sure.
So they have to look at the males and be like, I can't just pick this old fucking shitty lion over here. I got to pick the strongest lion to be able to procreate with, right? Right. So women actually set the terms of the pair bonding. Like we have to get out there and peacock and show our worth.
Yeah, sure.
Right?
Yeah.
We got to get out there and strut and say, hey, look, I'm worthy, right? They're the ones that's deciding, you. I want you, right? And the passage to entry to be able to pass on as a male, to pass on your genes, the passage to entry is marriage.
Yes.
That's the ticket. That's
why
men get married.
That's why you want to get married. That's why
If you just bring it down to its base level, that's the purpose of it, in my mind.
This is going to sound...
It makes sense. I mean, if we want to say that we're animals and we're a species on this planet, just like every other mammalian species on this planet, that's how they operate in general. That's how we operate too.
But as you said it best, though,
we just add on this extra
may
shit
not be a popular opinion among some, but it's the truth. Like, if I didn't want children, I wouldn't have got married. But
see, what's happened is if the female in the species says, well, I'll just procreate with you anyway. I won't even procreate with you because we're going to have contraceptives and I'm taking the pill, or if I do get pregnant, I'll just abort it. That I'll just have sex with you anyway. The male's like, hot dog, I get to spread my genes all over the place. I don't even have to get into some sort of weird societal contract, i.e. marriage. Right? That's the problem.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's an institution that completely got blown up long before same-sex couples came around. Is my basic theory, and I'm still fleshing this out, is the 60s were the worst thing that ever happened to this country. Lots of things happened in the 60s. The Vietnam War was going on, which was terrible. The sexual revolution was going on. Mm-hmm. Drugs became a lot more prolific in the 60s. The 60s were the worst period in American history, and it created all of the chaos that we're seeing now.
Yeah.
Because all the people that were involved, all the young people that are involved in this sexual revolution, the proliferation of drugs,
are now some of your leaders.
Are now college professors and politicians and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah. And two, I've also seen, and it works for some, I'm not saying that this way, I've seen a lot of issues with couples that have issues and then try to have a kid to fix it.
Yeah, and then they think that's going to fix it.
Now, it does work for some. I've got friends that are not married or engaged, have kids, and they got a beautiful family. That's fine.
Some people beat the odds. We're not saying this is. We're not talking about everybody.
I'm talking about in general. The majority, there is a lot of fucking issues, and I always say it. I'm like, you should have got married first, because I'm just saying that's the way I view it.
100%.
I think that's key.
Yep. And so that's why I generally take the stance that marriage is for child raising. That's what it's for.
Yeah, I mean,
if you want to say that you don't want to have kids and you just want to be married, okay, fine, whatever. But that can work for some people. Obviously, it does. But in general, that is not good for society. And so that was one of the reasons why the birth rate is down and we're slowly dying as a society, is because people are not getting married and having sex for kids anymore. I mean, not saying that sex is solely for procreation. It's also fucking awesome.
Because it's awesome.
Right. Exactly. But people have now taken out all of the consequences that can or derive from having sex, right? Yes. Not saying that we should get rid of contraceptives. That's not what I'm saying. Just understand the reality that whenever you're taking out the consequences for an action, you're going to have more of that action.
Of course.
And then whether it be good or bad, you just understand if you have more of something, there is trade-offs. There's no solutions to any of this. It's all trade-offs, right? You're going to have more promiscuous society. Well,
we already do.
With more promiscuity becomes more disease, which we've seen a rise in that, obviously. You're going to see, less people getting married. You're going to have more divorces. There is pros and cons to all of this. It's not all, roses and rainbows.
No.
Okay?
No. I mean, and especially talking about being promiscuous.
It just is what it is.
Your access,
good or bad, it just is what it
access is a lot different now, too. Like, you've seen Instagram.
That's one, yeah.
It's full of temptation and full of craziness.
Women should be picky. It's good that women are picky. Women should be picky about who they sleep with.
But dude,
it shouldn't be. Don't make it so easy for us. We should actually get out there and strut, and peacock, and actually win your affection. You know what I'm saying?
We lost whenever women could.
But at the same time, my lizard brain is like, I love whores.
Well, I mean, we've said it wrong to go whore. Like,
right, exactly, right.
But, we talked about before on Instagram, we lost whenever, like, men and women can now make a living producing nothing, contributing nothing.
All they're doing is feeding our lizard brains.
Like,
right.
I mean, how many accounts have you followed just because they're hot?
Yeah, a bunch.
Like, they could literally be outside,
That's what I'm saying.
It doesn't matter.
Like I have these opinions and thoughts or whatever, but it's not like I'm not susceptible to any of this either. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm still a male.
Oh, there is
a human species.
There is beautiful women on the internet. There is really attractive men on the internet for both sides. A lot.
Right.
That's and when people say temptation is a thing, it is a real thing.
And women are supposed to round off our edges and civilize men. Is what they're supposed to do. That's what they're supposed to do. That's what they're there for. That's what they're good at doing. Is civilizing us and pushing us and telling us to put away childish things and be a man.
Yes.
Right? That's what they're there for. Right? And then we're supposed to respond, and our duty is to respond in kind and be protectors and providers. I mean, that's just, in general, that is how it works. That's how it works in other mammalian species.
I mean, don't think in the last 10 years that Kylie hasn't one time just told me, like, let's don't be a pussy.
Right, don't be weak.
And don't be weak. I needed to hear it.
Right.
And that's what they're there for.
Exactly.
It's a crazy world.
Yeah, it's stuff out there.
But you're right. I think a lot of that does have to do with birth rates being down. I've heard that.
So that's one of the reasons why I think birth rates is down, is just because of our general societal treatment of sex and marriage is just so off key now, to where I think that's creating not for everybody, but for a large enough population to where it's creating a drop in birth rates and fertility rates, and then other things like. Obviously, I think our diet has to do with it. There's just way too many people that are obese, which causes all kinds of complications for pregnancy and stuff. And then also, there was somebody that I think was on. I read some of their stuff, and they were on Rogan about microplastics. There's stuff that's in our food, in our own water, and everything like that, like microplastics. That's got to be wreaking havoc on our fertility system.
So of course, diet,
diet, and stuff that we're ingesting.
For someone who's dabbled in and has been a big part of our life as far as fertility stuff. I'm not going to go too far in the weeds on that. Yeah. But average healthy couples only have about a 10 to 20% chance of getting pregnant.
Yeah.
On average. Now, granted, there is some that you could, like, fart and that girl's going to get pregnant. Like, right. There's rules, there's fart exceptions baby. To the rules. Yeah, like, fart baby. So, like, you know what I mean? Like, they're like, she's always pregnant. Like, I could just walk in the room and she's pregnant. Like,
right.
But it's already a very sloppy thing. And then take into the effect of poor diet, lack of exercise, obesity rates through the roof. There's all kinds of stuff.
Then your chances now down
Not
to
only
5.
that, also, I'm sure contraceptions at some point too, like when you're on this different shit too, or whatever the case may be. I'm not a doctor. I don't claim to be, but that in general. But yeah, like, and then of course people wait longer in life before they have kids, which is fine. Enjoy. I get it. And I get that.
And people, even married couples, are having less kids in general as a whole. Like they'll have like 2 is I think the average.
Yeah.
For people that do have usually, couples, 2 is like 2. Whenever it used to be, you had a gaggle of children. And the whole point, the purpose of that, before we had this modern technology that basically can just take care of us indefinitely, is the reason why you had a bunch of kids whenever back then is because you had to. Because if you didn't have kids, then you wouldn't have enough people to work the fucking farm.
Or take care of you.
Or take care of you when you got older, right? You had to. If you didn't have kids, you were going to die early.
I can also see
you wouldn't survive.
I can see it from the other side of the coin, where if someone was of my age now, or when I got married at, I was 23. So I can see outside looking in when you see, and we've made fun of these families too. They're like uber into it. I can see being single outside looking in and be like, fuck that. Mm-hmm. I totally get it. I understand it. I mean, don't knock it until you try it, but I get it. If someone like sees, a family with 2, 3 kids and they're always doing this and this and this, and it's just crazy all the time.
Right.
And I could see them be like, yeah, no, I like my freedom. I like to be able just to worry about me.
Yeah.
Like I
understand. I 100% understand that.
I get it.
I'm living that argument.
I get it. I get that.
Right.
But there's some other things that I don't understand, certain aspects of people. I know people that are like, I just want to do this by myself. And I'm like, I don't really understand that. Or people that are like, I don't want kids. Like sometimes I'm like, I don't really understand that either.
I can understand the argument because, like I said, I'm living that right now. But I've also know that when you just look around, you see people with kids, and that is part of the human experience. In my mind, when I was growing up, before I even thought about marriage or anything like that, was why would you not want to take part in one of the most universal human experiences there is?
It really is. Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And everybody who's had kids tells me the exact same thing. It's like it changes you. It's different. It changes you in the fact that there's another human being that is on the planet that you would literally, not figuratively, literally die for.
Yeah,
that you would take a bullet for.
But it's such the feeling is it doesn't kick you in the face. It's
just
it comes
like later.
It's almost like there's a peg, and then like once you have it, it's like it's
like
inserted.
A switch
it's
gets
done.
flipped on.
It's switch. You don't necessarily like. I didn't get like this big like uber like rush of like that's floating.
I mean. Yeah.
But yes, but you do it without even thinking about it.
Yeah.
That's that animalistic thing you're talking about. Like,
and now you can't imagine going back.
No.
Right.
But I will tell you this: if God forbid, whatever. But I can tell you, like, if I'm not saying it's going to happen, but if I ever had to, like, would you do it again? Like, get married again? Like, if something happened with us, I'd be like, absolutely not. I would not ever do it again. I would never do it again.
Yeah,
and she's going to get pissed when she hears that and hears say that. But I'm telling you right now, I would not fucking do it again. I will not.
I mean,
I know there's couples that people have gotten married 3 or 4 times, and it just took me long enough to find. I'm telling you right now, I don't give a fuck I'm not doing it again.
I'm doing it once.
Sorry.
Because my general thing is like the whole point of getting married is building a family, which means having kids and perpetuating or my line down or whatever, continuing my values and ideas and everything into the future generations. That's the whole point of it to me. So if I get to a certain point and say I get married and then we divorce, that's it. I'm done. I'm not doing it again.
Yeah,
but I'm only doing it one time.
I do think though, on that subject, I'll try to keep it quick so it's something else I know we want to talk about. As far as even if you don't get married, I do think everybody needs somebody. Like even if it happens, even if it takes you forever to get to that point, everybody needs somebody. You need someone. Yeah, I don't care. I don't care what anybody says. I don't care if you're like I can do it myself. Yeah, but
that's a whole nother. That's a whole nother like avenue to go down with.
Yeah, that's why I'm just keeping it short. Yeah. Like I'm not saying like I'm not.
Those people don't make any sense.
And the people that are like I understand that everybody needs. Like if you're just, I want to do it by myself, but I'm still going out and get my fix on certain things, whatever the case may be. But just to solely be like, I don't need anybody. I'm like, okay, well.
You talking about I'm the strong, independent woman. I don't need no man
don't
type.
Fucking get me going on that.
Yeah. Like that's a lie. They know it's a lie. I don't know why that's when I hear people say that, I was like, that's not a flex.
It's not a flex.
It's like the people that say I work 10, 12 hours a day.
I work 80 hours a week.
Like you're fucking stupid.
You're an idiot.
Why?
Great. If you're working towards something, sure, I understand, like a startup, whatever.
Like tell me that.
Tell me that, but don't flex
that you work all these hours. Especially you don't have to.
Especially if you work in a corporate world.
Right.
Fuck off. Like, give me a break.
It's not a flex.
It's not a flex. You're an idiot.
Exactly. I hear that. I was like, why would you do that? I mean, are you workaholic? I mean, that would be my first question.
What are you doing?
Is work making you do that? Are they making you work
overtime?
Or is you just technically can't?
Or are you just taking comp time? Are you just like, if you're doing like, I work that much so I can have more time off?
That makes sense.
So that makes more sense.
Because I know people that I think my cousins does this, where he works like 6 months and he takes off like 3.
Cool. By all means.
Or he works a whole bunch of, he works his ass off and doing a contract work so he could not work for 3 months and go gallivant
if you're doing a startup or you got a business that you've got everything on the line and you're like, I work 8 hours a week to keep food on the table. Fuck, cool, man. Like, good.
Right.
That's awesome.
But whenever they pose it as I'm better than you because I work more hours, that's the people.
I'm like, I don't think you're better off. I think you're losing a lot.
You're 40 hours a week. I work 60. I'm like, okay.
I do that, and not by choice. It sucks.
Right. Some weeks.
Yeah, like, I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah, I know those people. The I don't need anybody people, and I work all this time. Like, okay, fine, whatever. That's not a flex, bro.
Yeah, whatever. What were you going to say earlier about when Crunk sent us that text about something to do? We were talking about, we're trying to get a guys trip.
Getting guys. Yeah. Well, it's just, I think this is just a thing that just happens in your 30s.
Whenever
you get in your 30s,
I don't like it.
The thing is when you're in your 20s and you have less obligations, and really you just, only reason why you have a job, maybe you're starting out a career, but you don't really, I know. I've always thought that was kind of a dumb term. I'm working on my career, like, whatever. You have a job.
I've never told anybody that I have a career. I know. I don't even know what that is.
But you really just had a job just so you had money so you could go do stuff.
I like nice shit.
You didn't have obligations, right? Not like you do now. That there was no question of what you were doing Friday, Saturday. You were hanging with the boys.
That's
or you
it.
were going out.
That's it.
There was no question. You knew every weekend that's what we were doing. You didn't have to like plan it out. You just met up. You just went over to your buddy's house and be like, what are we getting into tonight? And then you would figure it out.
Fuck it.
Right? That was just how it was.
It was a given.
Everybody has all the obligations. Everybody's got to do all this family and dad shit on the weekends, and I got to do this, I got to do that. Now you have to like plan it out like weeks in advance. I feel like I need a secretary to keep track of it all.
Yeah, so I've tried to become the planner in our group.
I got a planner in my other group.
Yeah, and I think we're trying to plan just a small getaway for the guys because I understand. I am not an idiot. I know that people have their own shit going on. I have my own shit going on.
But it shouldn't be this hard.
But it should not be this hard. Like, and then it kills me when I see people and I'm like, oh, what's going on? It's been a couple of years. I'm like, you could have called. Or when someone says, oh, how are they doing? Like, you have my information. I can't do everything.
Right.
Like, or like, I love it when people are like, oh, we've been so busy with stuff, and you'll get like see them on Instagram or Facebook and they're doing all this cool shit with other people, and you're like, I'd rather you just tell me like, look, man, I don't really want to hang out with you and your family.
Right. I wish they just say that. Like,
just say it.
I just don't like you that much.
I just don't like you that much. Like, you're not as cool or as interesting as I thought you were the first time I met you. Great. Just say that. I will not be mad. I make fun of myself and give myself more of a hard time than anybody else can. Yeah. Look, like,
I'm a close second.
That's what I'm saying. Right. Like, just say, I don't want to do anything with you guys. I'd rather just be like, look, I work all week, and when I get home, fuck all. I don't want to do anything with anybody. So,
dude, I'm like that sometimes.
Stop inviting me to places because I'm tired of making up excuses why I can't hang out with you. Okay. Got it.
Yep.
Got it. Makes 100% sense.
I know. And there's some people that that have given me a hard time in the past about, why don't we hang out anymore or whatever? And I'm like, listen, it's just because I just want to say is because we were just like work buddies.
I'm having a hard time with it.
Can you just relax? You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I know you are.
I'm having a hard time with it.
I try to figure out. I don't really. Maybe it's just. I haven't run into that as much, really. I mean, because
I'm a freak.
I
had a midlife crisis at 30. Like, I have had some fucking issues, and then
I think you've had I think another thing that maybe is a problem. You've always had a smaller circle than I did.
Well, too. I mean, I had a bunch of friends. I mean, I'm still friends with a tight group. I have a craft group because it's easier to manage, because we all had similar hobbies.
So now since you have like a smaller group, then the odds of one of us or of all of us being like free to do this or that and the other is smaller. So much less, even one, right? So you have less of a pool to dip from.
And I'm such a and because even friends I could pull from, they've been so off my reservation that
they're not as tight.
They're doing thing and if I make plan, let's just say it was a couple that had kids, and I was like, okay, we knew each other we've known each other a long time, college, high school, whatever. They're so outside of like what I do and what I've been going on that if we were to hang out, the majority of it would be spending time like catching up and not just enjoying the moment. It'd be like
you may just have to do that.
That's what I'm saying.
You may just have to do that. And then you may have to just you would probably have to make more of an effort than I would with my other friend circle.
Yeah,
my friend circle is larger than yours.
Then don't get me wrong, I get lazy on it too. I'm just like I don't really want to fucking do all that. Like I just and then I had to be careful not to try to force friendship on somebody.
Yeah.
I'm like, hey,
you don't want to be that guy.
I don't want to be that guy. Like I know when I'm starting to become, I'm like, I don't want to be this guy. I have to fucking leave. I get it. So
you want to be my friend?
Okay. I would never ask that, but it's sometimes. Yeah, I know. I've actually never said to anybody before. It's fucking weird. It's so creepy. Like I'm 32. I don't want to ask for friends.
You're like the weird guy that like smells his hands.
But watch his kid get off at the bus stop. Like I guess because I primarily hang out with my dad. Like we do everything together. Like that's who so we ride with, work out, the whole thing, and then you and I hang out a lot too. Mm-hmm. So and I've got other good friends too. But like I said, everybody's so either they're starting a new family, they have young kids, or they're scared of their wives. Like they're trying to. It's a slippery road to try to keep everybody happy.
Them goddamn beta males.
Yeah, they get softened up sometimes, man.
I like corrupting them.
Oh, I try to corrupt them. Mm-hmm. As a married man, I try to corrupt them.
Yeah,
because it is what you make it. So, but yeah, we've been trying to get that planned out, try to get that going, and it's tough. Hopefully, here in a couple weeks we'll know, and hopefully, I wanted to.
It's just harder now. It was easy to do in your 20s. You knew the boys were always down to do this or that and the other. But now you just have to make more of an effort. That's
like
all it
my
is.
folks have a circle of friends that
you may not get a good payoff right away.
Oh no, and I think
may have to be work. You may have to work at it.
If I don't, I've already decided and told myself that if I work at it and I don't get the results that I want, I'm just going to quit.
Yeah,
I think I'm just going to stop and just settle into what I have and just be done with it.
Right,
because it gets exhausting at times.
We're gonna have to do be like that movie I Love You Man, where he had to go out and find he didn't have any friends.
Oh, like I'm not like hurting on friends.
I'm just saying that would be funny
desperate.
If say that happened to where you finally nobody was really down to like hang out or whatever, and so you just like said, fine, fuck it, I'm just gonna go find new friends, and you went through this whole like comedic journey of like meeting.
And
dudes.
I think a lot of it too is I think people are genuinely just don't want to hang out with people. I think you're just so you've been at work all day, whatever the case may be. I think they're just like I don't want to do anything with anybody
because so much of what people's social interaction is on social media. So why do they need to hang out in person?
I literally talk to people now that I'm back on Instagram again. I've talked to some other people that are across the fucking country that will shoot the breeze and have a lot of stuff in common. I'm like, we would probably hang out if we were closer.
Yep.
But it's amazing that, like you said, you'll get more interaction sometimes on social media with people that you'll never meet.
Right. And that's one of those things that I don't think people think about. Like social media can be a great thing, but there's trade-offs to everything. And that's maybe one of the negative aspects of social media is if you're getting all your socialization through an app, by the time the weekend comes and you have free time, you're socialized out. And you don't feel the need, you don't feel the desire, the pull as much to hang out with people because you've already gotten your socialization in.
I mean, like you said, but you and I talked about the other day, like I have friends too that I can call when we hang out. It's like nothing's different. Like
imagine if we didn't have that Instagram group, right? And all you did was you socialized with people at work a little bit.
Yeah.
Then you went home, and when you went home, you didn't socialize with anybody. You didn't have anybody. Nobody sending you memes. Nobody was texting or whatever. After a few weeks of that, you'd be fucking Jones and be like, "What are the boys up to? I do
that now,
right? You know what I'm
saying? We work together, so we see each other all the time.
It would be so much worse if you didn't have an app to be able to keep in touch,
or even text.
Right? Exactly.
Yeah, it's actually. So Dad told me the day. Dad was like, he's like, "How the fuck do we know about parties back in the day?"
Right.
He said we used to have great bangers, like awesome get together. He said, "I said it was all word of mouth.
It was all word of mouth because that's
all you could do is talk to people."
One person like had a space, and they were like, "You know what? Let's have a fucking party." And they're like, "You're right. Let's have a fucking party. Let's get the boys." And it just spread from there. You just had a party. That's the reason I'm saying like it was easy in the 20s, especially when you were in college and I was in frat. It was like the whole point of it was to party.
I have recently been back on an Instagram tear where I try to talk to big timers on Instagram.
Back on that? You back on your brand groupie situation?
Well, not so much the brand, But people that are in similar circles or do like similar hobbies that I do are like
you're a vibe groupie.
So like because I feel like I've talked about this before. I know a bunch where is that weird stigma like you can only talk to celebrities if you're dying, or you just happen to catch them on a comment. Like it's this weird thing like you can't talk to them. I'm like, well, why the fuck not?
They're on here. I can see them.
They're on here. And
I just did.
Like I said, I hate the fact that because they're celebrities or whatever, like they're still just folks. I might have a lot more in common than actually. I might want to get to know that person. Like they do some cool shit. Not like go to their house, not have a barbecue on the weekend.
Sound like a creepy stalker.
It sounds creepy as fuck. Right? I'm not trying to fuck them. Like I'm not trying to kill them. Or what did Tom's going to say? Go ahead and rape them too. You've already murdered them.
Yeah, exactly. It seems like a waste not to murder and not rape.
Like you've already come this far.
You've already gone this
finish
far.
It up.
Like you're going to jail forever.
That's why I got so fired up the other day. I got fired up last night randomly. I got mad about the Make-A-Wish Foundation. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but I got really fucking mad about that because I was like, why is it that these celebs and people, like, the only time they'll really give a shit, they'll, like, meet up and like, oh, hey, I heard you're a big fan.
So
like,
if you have stage 3 cancer.
I'm like, the only reason you fucking heard they were a fan is because their mom wrote to you and said, oh, by the way, my kid's dying. Mm-hmm. Can you take time out of your busy fucking schedule? Go fuck yourself. And then all it is publicity for you to look good online.
I'm going to push you on this a little bit. So are you saying that
Taj has gotten on tear about this too.
Like, you're saying that, say, you should hang out with a celebrity over a dying kid?
Who? Oh, no. I don't. No.
Okay, so what are you saying?
No. I don't know. Like, some of them, I just see that and I'm like, do you really give a shit? Like,
I think some of them do give a shit.
Some of them probably do.
But I do think some of them do it because it's because of something that celebrities do. And they feel like it's an easy way for them to give back, I guess. I don't know. There probably are some that are doing it for publicity, I would guess. There probably are some. But someone like John Cena who's done it like 600 times or some shit like that, he's doing it because it's now part of his thing. Like he started doing it. He was a low-level celebrity because he was just a wrestler. So he wasn't a big-time celeb that he is now. So he's a low-level celebrity, and a lot of kids watch wrestling. You know, anybody, basically if you're 12 or under, you watch wrestling.
Yeah.
Once you discover a pussy, then you don't watch wrestling anymore. Is basically my theory there.
Once you get laid,
right? Then you don't watch wrestling. We're like, oh shit, girls, I like that. I'm not watching wrestling anymore. That's basically how it works. So anybody that's under is 12 and under watches wrestling. So he was popular in that age group, obviously, right? And so he would do a lot of that Make-A-Wish stuff. Now I think it's to a point to where he just does it so much. He's like almost like a celebrity in the Make-A-Wish world.
He's done those, yeah, and I think he's probably genuinely does it. Like it's
I think he generally does. But then there's probably some they do it a couple times.
But I like how they only do it till you're 18.
Say I've done it.
I like how if you're 19, you can't. Sorry, your dreams are fuck all.
Unless if you're a little slow, then maybe.
Maybe.
If you're like 19, but you're like have the mind of like a 12-year-old, maybe.
I don't know. I guess I'm just a fucking weirdo. I don't know. I'm starting to get weirder in my old age, I guess. I don't know. Shit fires me up that normal people shouldn't.
I think it probably stems from the fact that you would message these people and they won't message back. That's probably where that stems from.
So I mean, no, don't get me wrong. Like I get it. I'm not a freak looking for like, here's my address, let's hang out. It's not that at all. I don't want to sound like desperate. I'm not. I do my own fun shit without talking to anybody.
Yeah.
But
usually it would be cool.
I'm like, none of you will be here without people like me, you fuck. Like you won't. Sorry. Like it's people like me that keep your shit afloat.
Yeah.
Like, sorry.
Right.
Groupie, whatever you want to call it. But that's just the way I look at it. And maybe if I ever became famous one day, because I want to go on the Jimmy Fallon show one day. I don't know why. I just want to meet him. I think he's cool.
So somebody was talking about. I'm not as hopped up on Jimmy Fallon as you are.
I don't want to have sex with him. I just want to go on the show.
I don't really want to necessarily hang out with him. I'd rather hang out with Conan. I feel like his
like
comedic style would be more my style.
Either one.
But someone was talking about this when it comes to like artists and how artists treat their fans these days, and artists being a general term for musicians and for people that write TV shows and art authors and all that, and painters and everybody else.
Painters are lame.
It seems to be more in the digital media space, like writers and authors. They seem to have this. It seems to be kind of thing that this person was noticing is that that movie Bros.
Ugh.
That movie Bros, whenever it bombed, because obviously, the showrunners came out, the movie producers and writers and the actors and everybody else came out, and it was basically shaming the audience, right? Shaming the fans for not watching it, because if you don't watch it, then you must be some sort of weird homophobe, right? It was basically their argument.
Naturally.
And he was like, someone was making this argument. It was like, your job as an artist is to entertain, especially if you're an entertainer and you're in the entertainment space of artistry, whatever. Your job is to entertain. It is not my obligation to consume your art. It's not my obligation. I'm not obligated to do anything. It's your job to entice me to want to watch it.
Correct.
Right? But a lot of them
entertain me.
Act like it, like you, in order to show that you're not a bigot, you have to go watch this movie, right? And if you don't, then obviously there's something wrong with you. That's basically what they're saying. They're saying that, well, if you don't watch this movie, or you don't watch this TV show, or you don't like my music or whatever, well, it's because it's made by a woman and you're obviously sexist. Like that's not, no. Your job as an artist is to make it compelling to where I want to listen to it or I want to watch it, right? I'm not obligated. Even if it's good. That Bros could be the best fucking movie. It could be 99%. I'm still not obligated to go fucking watch it.
Right.
It just may not be for me.
Same thing with music.
Right?
I don't want to listen to your music. It sucks.
You know, people talk about how they compare if a movie's really good or if a movie's really bad, they say, "Oh, we're not trying to make Citizen Kane here." So Citizen Kane is supposed to be, that people make that comment. Well, so Citizen Kane is supposed to be like the template for the perfect movie or whatever. It's the stand-in for the perfect movie is Citizen Kane or whatever. I've never fucking seen Citizen Kane.
I haven't either.
You know what I'm saying?
I didn't want to say that without.
Right?
I didn't want to say that.
It's not compelling to me because it's old and I don't care. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not obligated to see even the best movie, the movie that everybody compares every other movie to.
Right.
I'm not obligated to watch that fucking movie. So that same token I think that's what you're tapping into whenever you're saying that you made that comment about like you wouldn't even be here if it wasn't for me, right? And so I think sometimes celebrities, they get to a certain point to where they are now above it all.
Well, and I get it. Let's just say, for example, you've got 30, 40 million subscribers on YouTube.
They forgot how they got there.
Obviously, like I cannot imagine the amount of messages someone like that gets.
Oh, yeah.
Like it'd be
you
like,
can't go through it all.
Fuck all. I don't want to talk to you. Yeah, but I will say the majority lately, it's mostly positive. Like I've gotten to have some small chats and conversations with some really cool folks and like really neat. I mean, like big deal stuff to me. Some people might think it's a big deal, but like really cool people. Like either it'd be like someone who rides professionally that I've looked up to for years. Like just get to just have a little quick spat. That's also one of the reasons why I love Instagram too. Like I know I went sober on it for a week or whatever, but there is good. It's cool. Like you get a chance to interact with some really cool shit.
Right.
It's dope.
But I know what you mean. I mean, you see the celebrities that they can't take one second. I
sound whiny and like creepy. That's what it sounds like.
Well, I mean, I don't really message anybody.
I sound weird. I sound weird as fuck.
People on social media. So
I don't want everybody to know that I don't do it all the time. Like I don't want to sound like I go home after everybody goes to bed and I'm like, what are you doing? Like no. If you do some cool shit,
well, I mean, I don't DM those people because I know like they get a bajillion messages.
Yeah, and I know they give two fucks.
But at the same time,
doing.
I've done it in the past where I've DM'd celebrities straight up because I think it'd be funny. I have a funny thought, and so I would express it to them thinking that maybe they'll see it. The off chance they might see it and respond, I'd be like, oh, that'd be cool.
Do you get upset when you do that? Because on Instagram, it'll tell you if they've seen it. It'll tell you. If you send someone a message.
No, I've never done it. I've never done enough to even know.
It will. So if you send a message, let's say you sent one to whoever, it'll tell you if they've seen it. It'll say sent with a time. And then it'll say seen. The bad part of it is if it says seen, it'll give you the time since they've seen it. And I don't know what it is, but if I send somebody a fucking message and it says seen 7 hours ago, and I'm like, so I guess I'd rather you just be like, you're stupid or that's lame or something.
Well, I'll give you some insight on that because I do this. This I'm not saying this is what it is, but this is what I'll do. Is sometimes people will send me stuff
Sure.
And I have this thing about like I don't like having notifications just hanging.
I get it. Yeah,
there. I got to get rid of them.
Just click happy.
So I'll click it to get it gone, and I've quote seen it for a full split second, but I'm not looking into it yet. You know what I'm saying? So I may have seen it, but I'm not actually going to watch it for like another 6 hours.
I think sometimes a part of me is like, I want to message the right person and then be like, tag along for this wild fucking ride and pull me.
That's what it is.
And pull me out of my fucking boredom.
That's
what it is.
That's what it is.
That's what it is.
What you're reaching out for a hand for them to be like, let me pull you out of this corporate nightmare and you can come hang with the boys. That's what you want.
There's a small part that's like, but what sucks is I'm like, corporate world is fine too. Like there's a place for it. Like
don't lie, it's lame.
It's fucking sucks. Like that picture I posted, I actually got someone messaging me like a vomit symbol when I posted things like, do you want to work in an exciting, fun workplace? It's a fucking cubicle. And the dude sent me a message and he was like, I'll throw up face. Right. And I was like, all right, well, yeah, could I get off my ass and like make something and do something? Sure, right, yeah, I could. But, you get comfy because those corporate bing bang jobs or whatever pay really well.
Yeah, they do. That's the unfortunate part. Fucking, they pay really well, you're like, but they blow.
They blow. Yeah, so sorry if I'm not the one saying I worked 80 hours because it's awesome. No, motherfucker.
I'd rather be doing this for a living, but it doesn't pay anything.
This doesn't pay shit. Yeah. So. This doesn't pay anything. For all you startups, you're not going to make anything. Exactly. Trying to get a sponsorship's hard enough.
Exactly.
It's just fun.
Yeah, we're not doing this for the pay, obviously. We're doing this because we'll need to vent like we're doing right now.
That's all this is. This is literally just a vent session.
I really think that one meme that I saw was right. It was like, why does every guy that needs therapy just starts a podcast instead of going to therapy?
100%
I think that was 100% true.
This is my jam sesh for my
this
fucked
is
up
my
thoughts.
Therapy sesh.
Yeah, and which is nice because then people can listen and be like, dude, that dude is fucked up. I feel great. Right? Yeah.
I know. I had people tell me early on or early episodes, they thought you were the weird one. And then I think the turning point was whenever I was doing squats in the shower. Yep. And they were like, oh, no, you're weird too. I was like, yeah, that's the reason
weird. That's why this works so well. You're both fucking weird. And then now too, like I got I'm douchey and egotistical now. Is that what the word was used?
Yeah, they said, and I told them, I said, I like whenever they tell me stuff, give you some critiques, they'll just message me directly about critiquing. And a lot of times it's because they know me, they don't really know you, so they'll whatever. Yeah. And so I told him, I says, I love telling him because it gets him jazzed up.
Because what's funny is like,
you're doing it. Now you do it to me to where you try to get me jazzed up for no reason.
Because I'll be like, when you said that, I was like, yeah, it's no big deal. I don't really know them. The next day I'm like, fuck them, man. They don't know me. They never even met me. And then like I start going back listening to old audios. I'm like, did I sound douchey here?
Right. Then now you're questioning it.
I'm questioning like maybe I should stop.
I know.
Like no. Like
yeah,
whatever. It's fun.
Well, I keep slipping out like gay stuff, and now maybe I do need to say
which is hilarious.
Maybe I am gay,
which is hilarious.
Right, I'm a closeted gay dude.
That was still one of our best drops.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
Yeah, man. I don't know. I that's what I do use it for as an outlet to get
discovering so much about ourselves.
Oh yeah, that's what. Oh god, it was the most awkward thing is when my family friends said that to me. They're like, "I'll watch your podcast or listen to." I'm like, "Ooh." Know me since I was like born, and she's like. I'm just like, oh, I didn't know that about him. I'm like,
I really,
weird.
Yeah, and I've spilled some beans on here too, for sure.
You know who asked me today who wants to listen to it? Our boss.
Really?
I said, don't listen to it with your kids in the room.
Yeah.
Or probably your wife either.
Do not.
Do not do that.
Right, and also,
stay away from episode 3.
I like Also, I like being employed. I need to be employed.
It is what it is, man. I've never said where we work.
Oh, I know. Yeah, we're keeping that separate for sure.
What's our time? What are we looking at?
We're at like 1:43.
Let's give it a wrap.
Gonna wrap this shit
up. I got a couple things to say first.
All right, hit it up. While I get this prepped.
First off, I got a new sponsorship, by the way, for myself. Really excited about it. It's just a low one.
The brand groovy thing is working out.
It's an entry level. It's not a huge deal. It's just like some discounts off clothes and stuff, but I was really fucking excited about it. So
we were gonna give them a shout out.
Well, I mean, they're huge. I mean, it's Dirt Bike Kids. What I'm wearing right now, DBK. Okay. Like they actually came back and it's low.
How do you find them? What's their website?
Oh, it's dirtbikekids.com. It's motocross themed clothes,
okay,
but we'll good selection, really cool stuff.
We give free shout outs at this podcast.
Yeah, that's right. That's you damn right.
If you're cool, we're gonna give you a free shout out.
Even if we don't expect anything in return. Don't expect anything.
Right.
Also,
would we like something in return? We would like,
absolutely.
Sure.
So, okay. So, a good fraternity brother of mine, good friend of mine, actually came out with his own podcast.
Sweet.
It's called Schmitty Stories of the Paranormal.
I like that.
It's catchy. I like it. I listened to some of the first episode. It is cool.
Okay.
So the whole thing is like because I messaged him like, dude, what is this? Like fellow podcaster.
Right.
Apparently he writes almost like short stories, and he does like paranormal story, and he has his friends come on and narrate different characters in the story. It's really cool. Right. I was like, that's creative. I like it.
That reminds me, we talked about doing this before whenever we were into Dungeons and Dragons for a bit. But what if we did a throwback episode where we actually did we live recorded a Dungeons and Dragons session just for the podcast for shits and giggles.
That'd be all right.
Because we really can make that shit.
I actually thought about giving him a shout out. So make sure you check him out. He's on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Give him a like, subscribe. I'm trying to scratch those back. Like, hey. So I told him, I said, hey, we may need to do some kind of collab.
I'd collab him. That'd be fun.
Do collab in a heartbeat.
Well, I mean, he does like fiction, like narrated stories.
Yeah,
so
but
it's not really like a discussion podcast.
No, but it's, hey, we'll have you on. You can talk about your show. Yeah. Tell us what got you ready for that.
100%. Okay, I got you saying.
That's what I'm saying.
We'll
like
interview him.
Exactly. So shout out to him. I think that's really cool.
And then maybe we can get on his podcast, and we could do some voices.
That'd be cool. That's really all I had, man. That was the. We're still looking for sponsors of the show
because we are credited in a documentary for doing voices.
We are. I'm on IMDb.
I'm on IMDb. That's one thing.
Also, if anybody,
I've actually used that at the bars a couple of times. It's like I'm on IMDb. Look me up.
Yeah,
and they look me up.
Also, if you have any,
we don't have sex.
I have friends too that listen to the show that have businesses, whatever it is. Like we'll do shout outs. I will gladly do shout outs. Mm-hmm. I'll give you a shout out if you share one of our posts.
If you're cool.
If you share. Like I keep asking everyone to share. Like we want it to grow and get our viewership up, but it does help if you guys can share some stuff.
Right.
And if it's because I'm not sharing things that you want to see, you can tell me what, like, hey, we would share more if this wasn't happening.
Right.
Like that's fine.
Yeah,
that's fine.
There's one thing about like if you like, I'm not saying that we're there yet, but if we can get funded by if you share more, there's potential that we can get funded and we can actually do more. Right? That's the whole point.
That's the whole point is to grow it.
To grow it, because this stuff, some of this equipment isn't cheap. When we can actually get a good studio, we can start doing some videos.
Well, we'll take it on the road.
We take it on the road and all that kind of stuff. We talked about doing that. I mean, a lot of stuff that we can do, that don't cost anything, obviously. Like
and there's more that we're going to try to start doing too. Like obviously, it takes us as well.
That's kind of my idea is like to be able to grow the audience in order to then you get some sponsorships, some funding to be able to do more for said audience is my goal, to be able to do more cool shit.
Yeah. Plus, I share a lot of shit, so don't be lazy.
And, I mean, I'd be lying if I said I would like to get it to a certain size where I can quit my job because we just shit all over corporate jobs. So, obviously. Duh. I'm not going to hide the ball here. I don't want to be, one of
I want to be my own groupie.
Like, right, exactly. Exactly. I want to suck my own dick.
Right. Well, you know what you like.
Right. Exactly.
But yeah.
If you could, you would, and it would be a problem.
I would at least try it.
I would at least try it once. I might feel a little gay afterwards because I just had a dick in my mouth. But
it's yours.
But it's mine.
Yeah.
So then that's how I'd rationalize it.
Okay. Well, on that note, thank you. Make sure you like, subscribe, share, comment, and rate. We've actually had some good ratings lately. We're still at a 5-star on Spotify. That's actually really cool.
Yep.
This is 25, and then it's only going up from here. It's pretty wild to think 25 weeks.
We've had that idea before about doing a different kind of format for the podcast, as far as like doing a special kind of thing. Like I just mentioned the Dungeons and Dragons things. Yeah. I think that would be fun to do. But let us know if you think that's a good idea. If you'd like to hear something like that, if you'd like to hear us do Dungeons and Dragons,
they won't.
It's not going to be like
If you're looking for a comment, you're not going to get one. So you have your circle will, and then some of my circle will.
I guess so.
Privately not on the page.
I guess that's true.
And that's fine.
But anyway, if you like see some cool stuff like that, we could do that. But we went a little over. We're trying to keep the episodes at like an hour and a half.
Yeah, we're gonna try to. Yeah, I'm trying to. But sometimes you just can't help it. It is what it is.
It is what it is.
Yep.
All right. Well,
take it out, Broham.
I'm taking it out.
See you next week.